Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. This is our monthly Milestone Book Club. I guess return to the Milestone Book Club. We took Christmas off. How was
Yeah,
your
you kind of
holidays,
had to.
guys?
It
Well,
was
I mean,
good.
we didn't have to.
Well, no, it was good. It was family, very low key, exactly what I wanted. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to think what comics I got. Not much. I got a gift certificate to the comic shop, but I didn't get
Well, there you
actually any
go.
comics specifically. So yeah,
Which
Hmm.
comic shop is your comic shop of choice? Give them a shout out.
the Source in Roseville, St. Paul.
Okay.
Excellent store. Also good gaming. They got everything. I love them. Good pals.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Um, I just remembered since keep talking because I'm
Cool.
pulling something up. There we go. How about you, Marcus? How was Christmas?
Man, I mean, I won't bore everybody, but dealt with I dealt with some sickness and during the myself during
Uh,
the holiday
Oh,
season. But I'm back on my feet. And of course, I did that, I celebrated that by doing the one thing that I do, which is going 100 miles an hour on comic book work because my
oof.
deadline's coming up.
right.
But I am trying to, in all seriousness, I'm trying to balance, you know, getting this comic book work done with taking care of myself, uh, and it's a work in progress, you know. But I'm here. I'm glad to be here, man. I'm glad we're doing this. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I have to say, in milestone related news, so as much as I mean, look, everybody knows that I'm the milestone guy. Um, but I do have to say that so I've gotten to know somewhat God, sorry, my brain is farting. The writer of the original run of Blood Syndicate, um uh
Oh, it wasn't Hunland, was it?
Ivan
Yeah.
Velez
Okay.
Jr. Yeah, and he's like a really cool dude. Like he's been supportive of my work and everything. And it's funny because I mean I actually had the opportunity to interview him, on my podcast, and also but even in the Milestone documentary, I noticed it was he was like a blip in the documentary. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't really there. And he was very candid with us when we spoke to him about the fact that he kind of didn't necessarily get a fair shake, and a lot of stuff didn't come out well. And I kind of saw evidence of that in the fact that the next he posted that the next volume of the compendium, he had gotten his comp copies, as a creator. And he wrote a lot of stuff for them. He definitely has work in that compendium because this book Blood Syndicate, and he had a static run at that time.
Right.
And but it was like, it had all the other writers listed on the cover and like his name wasn't there. You
So
know what I
volume
mean?
three, he's not on the cover. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah. And like and that's not the only thing. It's almost like if that was the one thing that's not good, but
Because
it's
as
like,
soon as you started saying that, I looked down to make certain his name is on the cover of volume two.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know if it's because he if you ask him, he's willing to be outspoken about his experiences, but he's also not necessarily like, "Hi, I'm Ivan. Let me tell you how much, how bad Milestone did me dirty." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know if it's just like, you know, sore feelings that he's actually speaking about the situation. But I'm still going to read Milestone books, but I do have to say that like that's pretty disappointing to me.
Right.
And um, and I publicly said that like I don't know, he didn't deserve that.
No, of
So
course
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
there's definitely been um I don't want to name names here either, but like we did the milestone initiative,
Oh yeah.
um, and almost everybody was like wanted to be involved or got back and expressed really positive things.
Mhm.
But there was one that clearly didn't have the same experience and
Mm.
felt like they had different expectations than wound up being
What
met.
happens? Yeah.
Um, which I mean, I always go back and forth just because I know enough. I mean, I don't know publishing as well, but I, have worked both management and non-management in a number of different fields, and there's just always situations where there's miscommunication. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't times where people are just screwing people or
Yeah,
whatnot, but sometimes it's not even really that simple.
right.
Um,
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I want to be very clear too, because it's interesting because I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, I stopped.
I actually, you know what it is? It's that I'm very well acquainted, as a person of color, as a black person, with the fact that there's double standards and there's a certain scrutiny on things, when they come with a black or brown or otherwise marginalized label, right? And
Right.
because if I'm being perfectly honest, the comic book industry is rife with people being screwed. Jack Kirby is
Oh
one of
yeah.
the all-time greats.
Oh
Just
yeah.
I incidentally, sorry, not
Well,
to tangent, but I just got done reading the Jack Kirby biography by Tom
Tom's.
Scioli.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
need to
and
read that.
yeah, it's great, but I was also just like, and I already knew that Jack got jacked, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Right.
like it was terrible,
Well,
So
I
I
mean,
say all that to say just real quick, and then I'm gonna let you go. But like,
eh,
I say all that to say that I was even like, should I even talk about this? Because I know that like people are like, look, Milestone, even Milestone is shady and whatever. But it's a matter that it's an industry, a comic book industry, and too much of this happens like across the board. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And a lot of times it's personalities. It's I don't know who's buddies, who's not buddies, who felt slighted by whatever. Um, and so I want to be very clear. Uh, Anybody who's like relishing this because they think like, haha, you know, there goes your woke comic imprint, like, you're a bad person. But I will also say that, but I also do really believe in creators' rights.
Oh
And
yeah.
I just don't I believe in calling it out, even if it's from a publisher that
Absolutely.
you like, you know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Even
So
if it's from a
Well,
publisher that we're going to be talking about, especially if it's a
right.
publisher
yeah,
we're going to be talking about.
Right.
yeah.
I mean, what I'll bring up tangentially, um, because I mean, I recently was talking to an older creator.
Mhm.
I don't feel like naming him right now, though
Yeah.
it was on air, so people will be able to find it. And he wrote an entire 3-volume fictional history of the comic book industry. So
Mm.
it's not like he hasn't put it out there.
Wait, I'm
But
trying to
as I
put
was,
this together. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
he did Hey Kids Comics,
Okay. All
but
right.
I don't want to make it about him.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Um, but but between the way he portrays the industry, which is, yeah, management screws everybody, but the big dogs often screw the little dogs,
Hmm.
so it's really kind of everybody screwing everybody.
Yeah.
Versus, my more current view of the industry, where there's still huge management issues, but I don't feel like there's as much um cutthroatness between creators anymore.
I know what you mean.
I think there's and we kind of went back and forth on this. But I think creators have become much more, rising tide rises all boats.
Yeah, to a
Celebrate
certain
each
extent.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm certain that there are still
Just out of curiosity, do
people
you
wind up
kind
with
of mean,
pettiness.
yeah, do you even kind of mean like generationally? Because I definitely know I'm not even
Well,
in the
no,
circles with a
what I
lot of
really meant
vets,
was
but yeah.
I think this each generation
Hmm.
is more
Supportive.
help supportive of each other.
Okay. Yeah. I think, yeah, I can see
It
that.
makes it possible for there to be solidarity over time. I mean, the
Yeah.
Right.
fact
Yeah.
that there are more moves
Right.
towards
I mean, just like comics get better every generation, I strongly believe it's another thing that we went back and forth on a little bit. Um, I think the comics community becomes a tighter community at least every generation that I've seen.
Yeah,
I mean, even in the
comparatively,
90s,
maybe.
yeah, even in the 90s,
It's hard
I don't think
though.
creators took care
There's
of each
some,
other.
yeah.
There's always, and I mean, still my biggest one, and certainly one that came up and he feels even more than I do,
Mhm.
um, I wish that there wasn't so much infighting between mainstream versus just
Indie,
outside the mainstream
right?
versus independent versus DIY.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was talking to Jesse Lonergan recently, and one of the things I love about Jesse Lonergan, aside from the fact that I think he's just an otherworldly talent in terms of comic storytelling,
Mhm.
um, is I mean, like last year, he had a graphic novel at IDW. He finished and published on his website, but hasn't found well, a graphic novel that somebody else wrote at IDW, finished on his website and released to all of his patrons, a full graphic novel that he wrote and drew that's looking for a home, drew for Mignola at Dark Horse, and put out like an indie half page size book through Boulagan Press. You know, so he'd literally gone the whole gamut of, you know, monthlies, graphic novels, you know, I mean, he hadn't done superheroes, but you know, everything from, you know, the work for hire to creator owned to creator owned underground all inside of a year. And you know, I asked him about that. He's like, yeah, to me it's all comics, you know, so
Mm,
there's certain things that I want to do
right.
and I don't want to not do it,
Mhm.
but uh, you know, IDW is not going to buy this book.
Yeah. I definitely no, I mean I agree. Like the divisions are silly on multiple levels, you know. And I am yeah, I say the phrase it's just comics often, you know. But
Yeah.
even just we've talked about even to get in conversations with people who aren't like deep into comics and it's like even if I'm speaking about what I do, they're like, oh, so you do really do more like a graphic novels, like you know what I mean? Like it's like
It's
this
still
this
comics.
this elevated
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
thing, and I'm like, yeah, but it's comics. Like
Right.
graphic novels is a comic in a longer form, like you know.
Right.
So I do think
They need to have a word for the section at the store. That's
right,
the only
yeah, yeah,
reason they
yeah.
call it graphic
They
novels.
wanted they probably had to stop them from making it say real comics, like or you know what I mean,
Well,
or like
no,
they
I
make
mean,
up.
I think the biggest reason that like a Barnes and Noble or Borders doesn't want to have it say comics is they're afraid that people who are just looking at the sign will think of it as floppies and not even go over.
True. Yeah. Or
Whereas
even
graphic
just some
novels, they'll
people,
go look,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
you
Some
know.
people don't even get the difference between you know, comic strips and not nothing against comic strips, you know what I mean? But
Right.
they have a thing that pops into their head when they hear the word. So yeah,
I
Oh
love
yeah.
my comic strips too.
The
yeah,
I think of them
terminology
as
we
comics as
use.
well.
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
terminology we use too is like I get so many kids at the middle school who are asking for anime books, and I always have
Mhm.
to kind of pull back a little bit for being
Yeah,
like,
that's
well,
like the
actually,
only one. That's like the
Yeah.
only one that I will correct people.
yeah, that's. I mean,
It's like no,
I try not to be a jerk about it. It's like, well,
anime,
Yeah.
anime is moving.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. But I
And the
mean,
only reason I even catch myself at all is like the analogy I want to use is it's like anime is to manga like cartoons are to
comics. Oh, that's not bad actually.
comics,
Yeah.
except that then I go, but so many of my favorite comic people prefer to be called cartoonists
Yeah, that's
because
yeah.
Yeah.
because it goes back to before we had moving.
Yeah. No, it's
Terminology's
interesting.
fluid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of which, sorry,
Yeah.
that was a good
Yeah,
segue.
No,
I
it's a
do
good
want to
was
segue. I
because
like
this
it.
was super fluid.
it's
Yeah.
calling it out
Yeah.
really helped. I do have to say one
Mhm.
of my big one of my big initial humps in getting into this month's discussion topic,
Yeah.
duo, was the title because it told me almost nothing about it. I
Right.
mean, I would not have realized this was a remake or a reboot or a reimagining
Yeah,
zombie
yeah,
if I hadn't
No,
been told that.
well,
yeah.
I don't think I would have figured it out if
I think I told you guys, but
Yeah, I
like,
mean, you
yeah,
were
because
probably
I read, yeah,
probably,
like
yeah.
you were the
yeah,
one who mentioned it. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing.
yeah,
And it
Yeah,
is,
no, I think I would have figured it out about the time you've got that first guy with the weird fingers, and even though that's a different character, it's
yeah,
reminiscent enough of the Hand and Zombie that's like, oh yeah, okay, that's what's going
yeah.
on here.
oh
I mean,
wait,
the
so
the
he's not the
names the
dude from
names are a
Wildcats?
giveaway. Oh,
They
oh
are
yeah,
if
yeah.
you're
No,
good with
good with the names.
names, but I'm not
Yeah.
good with names.
Well,
No,
no,
that's
and admittedly, the only reason I could have missed it as well, but I just my comic shop knows me, and I was like, just put all the Milestone stuff in my box, like so it was there waiting for me, and then I picked it
Right,
up, and I'm like, oh, David Kim and
oh
Kelly,
yeah.
so
right, right.
yeah, let's get into it, man, because I don't
Yeah.
know, I want to.
And this
Oh yeah,
art
Khoi
is
Pham,
trippy
yeah,
and beautiful.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm gonna say right off the bat that this is the first one we've read that I don't know how it's gonna tie into anything else. But that's kind of like Zombie in the
Kind of like
end.
Zombie, yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
that
yeah,
is, I mean, that was what I was thinking as I was going through this. Is I'm like, I'm really like, does this need to be a milestone thing at all? But
yeah. Well, it's
the
interesting
same is true of
because
Zombie. Yeah.
I don't know what the trades say, but like on the cover, like it's called Earth M, so it's like
Yes.
Right,
a slightly it's
right.
milestone adjacent, but it's also they're on the West Coast, I believe. So I
I
think,
think so,
That's
and
right.
yeah.
actually, wait, wasn't that the case in Zombie? Wasn't Zombie also
I
not
think
in
so.
Dakota? So I
Yeah,
think
God, I
that's
can't
how.
remember. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so it's almost like maybe like a West Coast Avengers,
right, right. And
Spider-Man
I haven't
type
gotten
thing.
far enough into old Milestone to know if Zombie winds up tying in or not.
He
He
does in the. Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
no, you were going to say that. I mean, you were going to say that I was going to say, which is
Yeah.
basically that he kind of starts showing up once they get into the Shadow War stuff,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
sort of already happened because Zombie number
That's right.
zero is whatever.
Right,
That's
right, right.
Yeah.
but yeah, and even then though, he doesn't really. I mean, he is part of the Milestone universe, but
Right.
also he's dealing with stuff that is not. I mean, it's the same way that Sandman was part of the DC universe in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah. Which I think is interesting, because yeah, I mean, think about us on this planet Earth, and just how there's billions of people. So yeah, of course, you know, not everybody's going to overlap, even people with otherworldly powers. But just right off the bat, I think with each of these new series is like my I have things like I really like and well, I've enjoyed all of them in different ways, but I usually try not to do a one-to-one like, oh, this one's better or this one isn't. I think this one, I thought it was really bold in the sense that it was just like, we are going to take the crumb of the original. They took a lot of the original
We're
premise, but they
taking the
just,
seeds.
yeah, but they really went a different
Yeah.
direction. And I have to say, like on a premise level, as much as I love Zombie, I was like, this made sense. Because I'm not gonna lie, even when I was reading original Zombie, I was like, yo, it's kind of messed up. Like Kelly's just like embraced and she's gone. And then it's not till like a later arc that he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna mourn her,
It's
Right.
and
I would Yeah, I was thinking about this when I was going back over to my head, where it's like the original Zombie, it really was. I mean, it was a fridging. Like it was probably the most well done, and it's
mhm,
they managed to kind of go back on it, and like they make it well written, and it integrates
yeah,
properly into what it does. It's still a fridging. It still
yeah,
is a female character is killed for the purpose
for
of
the yeah,
developing a male character. Yeah, like it is. Yeah, so there's yeah, there's still a little bit of that original
like
sin, but
immediately. Yeah,
yeah, she did literally the end of the first issue. I was just
yeah,
looking through the first issue to try to remember, like, oh yeah,
yeah,
where does it take place?
yeah.
I think you're right, by the way, but I can never remember. I can never
Yeah.
remember where things are meant to take place.
I mean,
But
immediately in the sense that first issue, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, but
yeah, it's like it does take a very different. It takes an approach that makes it more superhero-y, but I don't know. I like the way that David Kim in the
But
original
I
was
think
sort of.
also I mean, here I just felt like there was more depth.
Yeah, that's you hit the nail on the head. But I want to hear
There's a
what Ted
lot
was
more
going to
depth.
say.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I've been thinking
but
about this because it does hit the current. I mean, here's the thing: like
Mhm.
a lot of the discussion of modern superhero comics from people who are kind of approach them from a broader socio-political standpoint,
Mhm.
approach it from the questions of at the same time as we question the neoliberal world order and the idea that it is no longer about changing the system, but rather finding the best people to run the system. Now there are people questioning that and assuming, well, why do we need to not change the system? What is so important about the status quo that is worth defending?
Mhm.
And through that lens, superheroes appear particularly ineffectual, which is why you get more and more stories about like, yeah, why doesn't Superman just turn every square inch of land in the world into an arable farm? Why doesn't
Right.
Batman on a smaller level? Why doesn't Batman donate all his money? All those other questions.
Mhm.
And the answers are never exactly what you want them to be. I mean, for starters, I mean, my good buddy Chris Sims from another podcast his response is along the lines of, well, then don't read a Batman comic, or you're not sort of engaging with the fiction as it is presented to you, because the purpose of a Batman comic is to read a comic about Batman. But like, it is also the broader point is that if you were going to do that, you would essentially have to imagine an entirely new world beyond our own, which is sort of beyond what we expect from our entertainment to do. Like
Right.
the comics we read are not there to help us imagine an entirely new socio-political order, although they could be part of that, whatever.
Yeah.
Ursula, the ghost of Ursula K. Le Guin is kicking me in the back right now. Um, but like these comics, while they help ask those questions, are still often trying to come up with answers that allow them to exist as they currently do, which is to say, in the world outside your window, to quote Marvel.
Right.
Um, they have to exist. I'm kind of getting away from myself. I'm going back to my English major roots. But like
Mhm.
the idea is, I mean, you want this to be a comic about changing the world, and what does that look like? But at the end of the day, the series has to still take place in something that is recognizably this world, which means you can't actually change the status quo that much. So David, Kim, and Kelly are not going to ever get to usher in, the what's the phrase that gets tossed around, the fully automated luxury space communism. Like whatever happens in their story, likely it will not change the world of the fiction enough, or if they do, that'll be the end of the story, because at that point we're into full on utopian madness. Like
Yeah.
it
You,
I'm kind of getting away from myself, I'm sorry, but
no, that's
like,
all right. Oh, go ahead, please.
well, yeah, I mean, I just I'm not, this is not me like critiquing the comic. This is not me saying like, oh, this comic sucks. This is not me like in any way saying that this is a failure of the comic, or like hating on it for that. But it's also like it's asking bigger questions than a monthly comic is usually equipped to answer, both for its better and for its detriment, because in the end, you still have to have a series that ends with a bunch of guys punching each other, even if they're punching each other in
Yeah. Can I ask a
unfamiliar
question?
configurations. I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying. I mean, well, I have a lot of thoughts because you said a lot, but like,
Yeah. Sorry.
no, it's all right. But I mean, it's good stuff and good food for thought. I think that on one hand, uh, just real quick, like with the question of like, yeah, like why doesn't Superman do this? Why doesn't Batman do this? Those type of questions, I think are fair because even beyond those questions, right? Like other questions like, how irresponsible is it of Bruce Wayne to have his, child ward dodging bullets? And it's like because these things were made in the 30s and there were certain archetypes, they were adhering to. It's the reason why, like, we've talked even about how some series have done away with the conceit or just not even bother with the conceit of secret identity
Oh
because it's
yeah.
like because the secret identity trope exists purely because back in like the 40s they were like, yo, you know what would be a real ever-present threat is if like our hero had to keep his secret his identity secret. So I think just not to get too all over the place, but I think there's some value in those questions. Obviously, with internet and social media being what it is, sometimes the way the questions are posed or the ferocity of the asking, can take on a life of its own.
Yeah,
But
it's not always in good faith of like, well, why doesn't Batman just give away his money? It's like, well,
I
then there
mean,
would be no
look,
more. No one
wait.
wants to read. No one wants to read Charity Guy. Nobody wants
Oh,
to read.
so all right. To be fair, like I
I'd
am
like
a
to see
Batman.
somebody try it as an Elseworlds story.
Hold on a second. I
Sorry.
As a Batman fan, and I think the Batman the film he didn't give away all his
Right.
money,
That's
but I think he like there's been a lot of writers who have been deftly tackling this, not in the way of like, oh, he's going to give everything away, but it really because that's actually my answer to the question when people who haven't specifically read a Batman comic are like, oh, why doesn't Batman do X, Y, and Z? Because they heard somebody on the internet say it.
yeah.
And I usually say, like, it kind of depends on the writer. Like, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, because some writers do tackle it. And like I said, in the Batman, we're getting like, what was he? I think he's year 2 in that film. And
Something like that. Yeah. And the
yeah,
whole
and
idea is there was I just rewatched it, so it's like all in my head.
right. Which
But
I
yeah,
love
like
that movie. Yeah. But go
oh,
ahead.
it's great. There's
Yeah.
like the charitable fund that Thomas Wayne established, and of course, it's all the police are double dipping in it. So like
Right.
the whole reason is, well, yeah, if you do that, then unscrupulous people will find ways to steal from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and like you were saying, I mean, like oh, which Batman writer is it who recently did the thing where like Bruce Wayne lost all his money and was like working out of an apartment building or something? Was it
Oh yeah.
was it
That might have
Tiny
been.
I think
or
Tiny told.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what the current status quo is, but yeah, I mean,
I mean,
like
I love Batman, but it is kind of ridiculous if you think too hard. Like,
yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
but it's there to make
yeah,
the story work. I mean, like
right,
the whole
yeah,
reason you have a Green Lantern ring from Space Guys is because you want to watch a dude beat up guys with giant green boxing gloves. Like
yeah,
the whole reason you have a guy from Krypton is because you want to have an alien who has these superpowers. Like there are certain elements you have to accept for the fiction to just happen as a fiction,
hmm
and a lot of times those questions about, well, why doesn't Superman just like is because
yeah.
then
You
you
got to
wouldn't
keep
have
it going. Yeah.
you wouldn't have a Superman comic. I mean,
I will say, yeah.
then you'd have stuff like Warren Ellis's what was it, Bad Summer, Black Summer was
I
the
don't
one
think
where
I read that
basically
one.
yeah, it started off when a guy walked into the Oval Office and was like, yeah, okay, I just killed the president and the vice president, we're going to do a whole new set of elections, don't try to challenge me. And like that's another perfectly fine premise for a story.
Right.
It's not a superhero story, it's a different
Yep.
kind of thing at that point.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and these are all good points. I think that wow, it's so interesting because we all really want to talk about Duo, but I feel
Right.
like
Sorry, I'm
we just
really
no, we
taking
haven't. We haven't talked in a while, and I feel like we just have a bunch of stuff to talk about. But just real quick, I think to that point, yeah, it's interesting, right? But I guess my only point with that, because I had a lot to say, but my only real point was that the comics medium is always evolving, even in the ways we were talking about, like the ways that creators support or don't support each other, things like that. And so I do think there's room for both. I think your point is very interesting because you're right to a certain extent. If you change it too much, then it becomes like something totally different. I guess I haven't read it yet, but I'm interested in the new Ultimate Spider-Man
Oh
because
yeah.
they directly challenge the idea that like Peter can't ever have a family. You know what I mean? And like, because
Yeah, they're
you got to give Peter Parker a break, man. It's been
Yeah,
too
I
long.
guess, and I haven't read it. Tyler enjoyed the first issue. Like what scared me off so far is Ben's alive and a newspaper man.
I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, there's big changes along the way. Yeah.
I'm interested, but it's to
Yeah.
me it's like it's ultimate.
Well,
So it's like
but
it's a different
yeah,
universe, and I can live
Yeah.
with it. But yeah,
But yeah, I mean, you are right that there are more stories that are challenging that idea that everything kind of has to fit in a
yeah,
status quo accepting bubble. Because yeah, and I mean, this is also not a new phenomenon because I mean, there's been stuff like, oh, Rising Stars, is one where the premise was all about like, oh yeah, what if superheroes were real and had this power, and
Mhm.
they just decided to mess with our life. Well, how would that look in reality?
Yeah,
A lot of people have done it, and then to varying degrees of success.
yeah,
And this is following in those traditions of having a story about what does it look like when somebody who kind of has the trappings of a superhero
hmm
is doing something beyond what a superhero is typically allowed, in
yeah,
giant quotes, I'm doing the air quotes, it's typically allowed to do in the real world. And
yeah.
that's what
Well,
this comes down to. Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like we should I guess pivot to this.
Yes, sorry.
No, we all had stuff to talk about.
I gotta laugh just a little bit here.
Because we're the ones that try to bring you back.
No, because as you guys are saying that, I'm like, okay, I can see where they come from. But and I think this is like evidence that the least superhero reader of the group. As Ted was saying, oh, it's how they mess with the world. Like, oh yeah, there was that going on too. Like my entire focus was on the relationship between the two of them inside the head.
Well, yes. I have to say. So, all right, I'm gonna give like I'm not even gonna do. Ted is you're great at doing recaps. So if you want to do a traditional recap, well, I'm not even gonna attempt to recap. I feel like I'm just going to kind of. I feel like I just want to like give the broad strokes of what the series is, and like I will totally. If you want to do a recap, you definitely can. But just really for the listeners, for anybody who hasn't picked this up, you probably heard us previously, if you've been following the Milestone series of 22 panels, heard us speak about Zombie, which came out during the 90s. I think we all liked it. We had different opinions, but, I think we all liked it. And it was, I think we all also agreed it was like it was cool in the sense that it was like the biggest outlier and kind of like really different book. Yeah. So Duo, as you probably intuited from our conversation previously, like is taking the nuggets of that. Like David Kim was a scientist who was working with nanotechnology. He had a kind of unexplored previous relationship, acquaintanceship, friendship with Kelly. Kelly had a different last name in that book, but Kelly. And I believe there's a similarity in the sense that there is an attack on his lab in the old one, and the result of that is he is saved by the nanotechnology as it combines with his body. But Kelly pays the price because in order to save him, it took her body and her DNA and everything. It took parts of her to rebuild him and bring him back to life. And from that point on, like he's fused with the nanotechnology and he has, the ability to regenerate. He's basically unkillable. So fast forward to now, in Duo, as we mentioned, like the title of the book isn't the same. And I actually think that maybe it was an editorial call because I guess Duo kind of reflects the fact that this take, Kelly doesn't just go away. Right. So in this one, I'm not going to rehash that part because it's essentially kind of starts the same way, except Kelly and David, as opposed to being a will they, won't they, thing, they are very much an in-love couple. They are partners, and they're like brilliant scientists who are on the verge of cracking this nanotechnology. All right, now I feel like I'm doing a recap. So I'm not gonna do a whole recap, but I'm just getting you to the core premise. Well, so basically,
the big difference is that in the other book, Kelly sacrificed herself and the nanotechnology essentially ate her body to save David.
Mm-hmm.
Here, while she does that again, her consciousness merges with his.
Right.
Yes.
So they're now both inhabiting the
same body, David's body. And it's fascinating because I don't know, like as I'm reading it, so to everybody's points, there is like some like maybe overall a more superhero-y feel, right? Because even on a base level in Zombie, like, David and all the people he's working with, they don't don anything that looks like a superhero costume. You know what I'm saying? And like, and as David's abilities manifest, like his outfit becomes very superhero-y. But it's interesting because as you read it, it's still.
Did anybody else have the John Wick feel with him too?
A little bit, yeah. I could see that. I could see a little bit of Keanu.
In the current one, yeah. Oh, God,
the current one, yeah.
Now that you're saying it, I can't unsee it.
I didn't think about
when
it
he's in the suit. It's like,
yeah.
John Wick badass.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So without doing a whole recap, the really where it diverges, as as you guys put it, is that Kelly's consciousness is alive, and they're wrestling it. To me, the internal wrestling between Kelly and David, and even just the just the existential questions that like two people who really love each other inhabiting one body, and another person not even having had time to grieve, the one person not having had time to grieve the loss of their loved one before realizing that this wild thing is happening, and the other person not even having time to like process that, really process that she lost her body, but she still exists, but she's in David's head, but she always feels like she's on the verge of slipping away from existence. It's like there's so many like just mind f's to it all, and
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
and they
go ahead.
managed to both show intimacy and awkwardness. I mean, one of
Mhm.
my favorite scenes is, they're meeting Maya, and she's
Yes,
like,
yeah,
worried that I noticed the way your eyes automatically dropped to her ass just now,
right.
and worried that I felt that little surge of endorphins when
Hmm.
you liked what you saw. What I
Yeah,
mean, it's a little weird actually feeling it.
right.
Oh, geez.
I mean,
Here in your body, it's visceral.
I do think that you're right that the relationship stuff does really change it is a huge, I don't even want to say improvement. It's a very interesting take for a book and is
Mhm.
unlike some things I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it works really well. I do like a lot having those two constantly in the same head and having to deal with each other's thoughts and constantly, yeah, no, I like that a lot. I do feel like, I mean, if I feel like it's lacking anywhere, I don't feel like I ever learned very much about them before they got, brain fused, before they turned into the man with two brains.
I think
Like,
we learn it there.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like
I think we
even
learn it after. Yeah, you're right though. It's not like
there's not a whole lot of like, oh, remember when, your mom did this when you were 6, or remember how we visited to
I mean,
like,
what we learn the most is when what's the it's not quite the big bad, but
oh,
oh,
are you talking about
the big dude,
yeah.
Tinker, the guy who was in
oh,
charge of
Tinker.
Tinker?
No, no, not the Tinker. The
Oh,
guy
oh,
in the first
Marius?
issue. Yeah,
Yeah,
Marius.
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 Yeah.
Um where he's saying, you understand what it'd be like to share a brain? Are you insane? No.
Yeah.
And Kelly's sitting there going, I don't see what would be a problem. And David's immediately going, oh, I hadn't thought of it
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like,
Well, and
well, I
also
mean, yeah,
they're engaged for like what, 9 years or something, didn't they say? It's like, God, just pull the trigger already, guys.
right,
I don't
right.
know, that was a
They
different thing.
want to save the world first.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, and actually, I do feel like it's interesting because we do get flashbacks afterwards. Bless you. We do get
Sorry.
flashbacks, but it's like one of them is, like where they were taking turns sleeping. You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
like it's because what I gathered from that is that they love each other deeply, but they are so just
This project is
all
their
in on their
baby.
work.
Right.
Yeah, like on their project, it's
Right.
their baby and everything. And I do feel like, because I think this came up in Blood Syndicate, like this is arc one, and I hope there's future
Yeah, I
arcs,
hope so
but
too.
like
Because I
I
mean,
think, yeah,
whether this is great or not depends so much more on what comes next.
right. I
Yeah.
really like this.
I
I'm
really liked it, but if it is forever hanging where it
right
ends,
on what they
Yeah.
do,
which
where
isn't
they
even
go with
really
it.
a cliffhanger in the normal sense, but it is if you were like really focused on their character development.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's part one. It's
This
it's
Yeah.
is
part
the
one
end of their
of
character development. That's a problem.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, and it
I
was. Oh, go ahead, Ted. Real quick, because I guess this kind of ties back to the interesting point you made before. As I was reading it, like I'm thinking about like, yeah, how torturous this must be for the two of them, and like so in like the part of my brain that's like rooting for our heroes and even relating, right, as like somebody you know who has a partner that they love and everything, and imagining like your person doesn't have isn't in their body, is worried
Oh,
about
I don't
all the
want
all
Kelly inside my brain.
yeah, well, not even for that reason. I'm even talking about the fact that like Kelly in our story
Right.
is um just basically living an existential crisis. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
David is too, but he's got his body. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he's probably got the better end of the deal. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
how
at least the body
excited does
looks like
she
him.
get?
Yeah.
how excited did she get when she figured out that she could take control of the body?
Right,
It's like, oh,
right.
go away, my
Well,
turn.
and even when that happens, I'm reading and I'm like, that's kind of messed up for David. But then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, well, she's,
It was messed up for her first.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I feel like it does those things. Like it makes you ask, like, oh, yeah, like you could see both characters' perspective. I guess the point I was coming to though is it made me be like the part of you that's rooting for your characters is like, oh man, I hope they do find a solution. But to your earlier point, Ted, it's like if they do that, it's like it's kind of not the same series. I mean, granted, like I think comics evolve and they do find ways to like make a big change, but
I mean, it can
still
wind up
have it.
being the Ben Grimm thing, where every time they fix
Mm,
it, they decide that there's a reason that no,
right.
That's,
bad
I mean,
idea.
Yeah.
I do feel like, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of stories that are, I mean, God, I can't even count how many, cartoon shows that I've seen where there's like a genie that can grant wishes or I don't
Mhm.
know, some sort of incredible invention, but then like the heroes try it out and like, I don't know, it causes too much disruption somehow, or there's some other reason where it's like, oh, well, I guess the best solution is to just return things to exactly the way they were. And it's like, I mean, really? Couldn't we think of at
Well,
least one
yeah.
other use for I'm getting a little off topic when I talk about this, but it is like I don't know. I can see more uses for the I can see more solutions than just either nobody should be made into an immortal ever or
Mhm.
everybody should be made into an immortal now. Like it's a little bit there should be more nuance to
Well,
it than just
I
having the
will
two big
say
guys
that I
fight.
I agree
And
that
then
if
the
you make
third group of big guys come in at the end, and we know they're
if
the
you make
really bad
everybody
guys because
into an
they're all
immortal, you
red.
got to sterilize them.
What's that? Sorry.
If
Huh?
you make everybody into an immortal, you got to sterilize them.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's also the problem. This is, of course,
That
not
would be
related to
very
like,
problematic after a few generations.
yeah. I mean, this also is a little bit it's divorced from reality because, of course, this is not actually something that's going to be developed. Well, not anytime soon, anyway. So it's not
Not
as though
if I
this.
have my way.
They called me mad at the academy.
That's why
I've said too much.
That's why Marcus is so worn out all the time.
Yeah,
He's got
yeah,
a day job and a family, and he's drawing a
right.
comic, and he's a
And I'm a
mad
mad
scientist.
scientist.
Mad
Absolutely, yeah.
scientist.
No,
But
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
No wonder he doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was just making a joke. I mean, this was a joke, but also sort of not a joke about how it's those two perspectives. It's either everybody gets to be an immortal and then we have problems with like overpopulation, or nobody gets to be an immortal and things continue exactly as they are. And there's, people with horrible diseases living under the overpass. And it's like,
Yeah.
could there be some kind of in between? And
Well,
then they have to have the really bad guys to show up at the end, and they're the really bad guys because they're red.
They're red.
They're red. I mean, that
And
means
they,
they're
and
bad dudes.
they look a little more badass.
They
to be
look
fair.
mean, like they got big knives
Yeah.
for hands and stuff, and it's like they're the bad guys. And
Their character design was really cool, and the bad guys
it was
usually have
cool, but it was
character
also
design.
it was like again, it's you got to have the bad guys at the end for
Right.
the big fight, and it's
Right.
I don't know, but I'm asking a different thing of this series than it is part of the problem. Like I'm asking this to be, oh God, I don't know, one of the ones I mentioned earlier, like Black Summer or Rising Stars, maybe, when it really is it's in a superhero universe and it has
Yeah.
superhero trappings. So I'm being overly cynical about all this. I did like it. Like let me be clear about that. I liked it. I liked it really a lot. I like Greg Pak. I love the art.
Mhm.
It's a well done book. I thought it was a nice, clever spin on the original that gave Kelly a better role and everything, while also preserving some of the weirdness of it, of having this constant, presence in your head. And yeah, no, I like that a lot. So
Yeah. And can I say, like, I mean, I do think it's really interesting what you're just talking about the it's like, so the opposing factions, and I don't know, I guess that might not, what we're talking about, a lot of like complex ideas in this that if you didn't read it, and because we didn't do a recap, it might not be fully apparent. But I guess basically what we're talking about is one of the things that I think is worth commenting on is the nanotechnology. Big part of the drive that David and Kelly have when we first meet them of trying to develop it is that they can cure diseases, they can cure sickness. They like go down to what I think is Skid Row.
Yeah.
And like there's a bunch of like, you know, sick people, unhoused people, and you know, they're talking about like we could cure all of this, we could end this. And you know, even amongst themselves, they raise a question of like, well, is that like granting immortality? And you know, I think there's a question of the ethics of that, you know. But obviously they want to continue with their work.
Yeah.
The accident, not accident, but the attack that leads to their predicament that we've been discussing, you know, happens and interrupts all of the work. And we find out that Marius, who when we first meet them and they're still, you know, entrepreneurs and everything, Marius appears to be like a wealthy businessman that could either continue to support, financially support their work, or not. And he says, like, he raises some of the ethical questions. You know, we
Yeah.
learn later that he's got other reasons for not supporting their work. You know what I mean? But at this point, it just seems like, oh, he's a businessman. And then, like, you know, basically Kelly turns down the $1 billion he offers them and does raise the good point, like, oh, if he offered us $1 billion to buy us out, this is easily worth 10 billion. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but sadly, they don't get to see that through. But I bring that up because, you know, it turns out that Marius is one of a group of immortals, called the, what's their name? It's the not
Immutables.
immutables. It is immutables. Okay. Yeah, and there's like 1 in a billion human beings is born with this immutable, immortal ability, you know. And there's only been 100 of them that have ever walked the earth. And so from his point of view, it's like humanity would obliterate everything if you take out mortality out of the equation. And he even offers himself up as an example, saying that, you know, look, I've seen so many people die. It's individual life, it means nothing to me. You know what I mean? And but he does say that, like, he does not want the world to die. You know, so that's one of the ethical points of views that come up. And then like Tinker, you know, who is another wealthy kind of
He's
Tony Starky guy.
he's
Like,
he's kind of Tony Stark who has decided to attack
right.
Asgard, I guess. I mean, is the equivalent here, where it's
Yeah, yeah, you
he,
could say
you know,
that,
the
yeah.
beautiful immortals. He wants it all. He wants every human being to have that. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So there's these different viewpoints. So to your point, I mean, it is interesting because I agree that I don't think it has to be like either they they heal everybody, because at a certain point in the story, after Kelly has taken over David's body, she's like she starts healing all of those sick people that they have been walking past. But then there's even messed up stuff amongst that, because she's able to heal people with like hives and these other conditions. But then there's a woman who's, you know, she's suffering cancer, and they can't do anything about that.
Yeah, that's too
Um,
much. Yeah.
yeah, which is like, if you think about it, it's super messed up. I mean, imagine being that woman with
And being
cancer and seeing everybody else get healed,
Yeah,
and
Jesus
just,
Christ has come in the second coming, and he can't heal
yeah,
you,
he can't
essentially.
heal you. Yeah. So I think so your point is really is a good one, is that, like, I think that, and to Tad's earlier point, hopefully the series continues so we can really like investigate some of these other possibilities of, you know, beyond like, yes, like either you know, you heal the sick, or, you know, humanity is going to go crazy and all that stuff. But I feel like this arc for me, what worked for this arc was it jumped us in pretty much right away in motion into this crazy chain of events. And it set that up. It set up the dynamics of this new dynamic of them inhabiting the same body. Um, you know, and like I think we all agree, like, maybe the superhero-y punchy stuff of it all was at least, you know, exciting part. I think it was really the conclusion issue is one that had the most classic punchy stuff. The other ones I think balanced it pretty well, because even
Yes.
when there was action happening, you simultaneously you were really jumping into their head. You know what I mean? Because there's a cool artist on the art side of things. There's a cool visual where they have them inside this kind of, you know,
Their
different environment. Yeah, ethereal. Yeah,
brain.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, so like the cool thing they're doing is even if there's like punching and like blowing up drones and stuff happening, it's like panel wise, you might get like two panels on a page of the body fighting the drones in the real world, but you might get like three or four panels of this kind of existential like back and forth. So
Yeah.
even when the action's happening, you're really getting a lot of that. In the conclusion issue, there was a lot of like traditional, like, nah, I'm just fighting the bad guy and punching him through the car and like, which I didn't hate, but I will say that
Sure.
like I really, I don't know, I liked the dynamic of the two of them like wrestling with what this is. Actually, I'm gonna stop talking soon because I feel like I'm going on and on. But
No,
but
no,
Tad, you had brought up the part where they were going on and on about like Kelly noticing David, getting a little excited with Maya. But there was actually a really cool touching moment after that because like, she pointed out all those things and then she makes a little joke. Um, I think saying that something about, you didn't notice that like how like every guy with long
Yeah,
hair and a beard drives me crazy.
yeah,
And then like he laughs, it cracks him up, and they have like it's like a sweet like couple moment, you know what I mean? And he says like, "Oh, I love you so much," because even after all of this, she could still make him laugh, you
yeah.
know. So it's yeah, I don't know. I was really kind of intrigued with like a lot of stuff they did with the direction that they took this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and somebody
no,
else talk, please.
yeah, that, you just hit a lot of my thoughts. Um, I mean, I like a good relationship book, period, and
Yeah,
and I felt like this really, it was like, I mean, it's like the taking the couple and locking them in an elevator together,
Yes.
hmm
only more so,
yeah, even yeah, again, yeah, even more
right?
so, right? Yeah,
Only more so, and just for shits and giggles, let's have two groups of ridiculously overpowered people
yeah,
who want to kill them. Well,
right,
And then three by the end, but yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
three. You're right. You're right. Three groups of ridiculously overpowered people
right.
who think that they need to die, um,
hmm
while they're locked in an elevator together, getting to know each other better than they ever
Yeah,
thought that they wanted to.
yeah.
It's kind of a cool concept, and I think Pak and who's the artist?
Khoi
Pham?
Pham. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they handled it really really well.
Yeah. I
I
do. I
I
mean,
love the internal brain
hmm
yeah,
where it's the pink. You're actually like
Yeah.
inside the brain
Yeah, it's like a
tissue.
brain. Yeah, it's
the
interesting.
You
folds and
know,
yeah.
it's almost. I mean, it's black rather than electrical, but it's almost like no, I want control of the synapses.
Yeah.
My turn. Um, I think the decision to make him all John Wickish on the outside was actually really surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Because he's not, except that she can make him that way.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
it's
even
like,
have to look at issue one because I'm trying to see was he that ripped before he got nanotechnology?
I don't know
I
if we
don't,
saw him with his shirt off very much. Did we?
A little
I'm
I
bit,
trying to
yeah.
remember.
think
I mean,
he
yeah,
really was.
yeah. But I think he's
He's a
more
little bit
so.
more frumpy,
Yeah, you're
but
right. You're right.
but even beyond that, I mean, it's just the difference between the three-quarter sleeve raglan and the suit.
hmm
You
Right.
know,
Right.
The silvery metal or the golden metal.
well, but
Yeah.
I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about, he's walking around in a suit.
hmm
Oh, I
The,
see.
the golden metal is like what like they I mean, and I love that like he's still trying to sort all of this out all just in general. And she's like, wait a minute. If I can do this, then I
Right.
should be able to do that. And if
Yeah.
I could do that, then I could do this. And, and like while he's still trying to figure out how am I alive? How is she
Yes.
in my head? She's
Right.
like, we're Superman.
Yeah. No, I love that you brought that up. Because that was another thing that was really interesting, and it shows how, as far as a duo, right? And it's like real life, like couples, oftentimes one person is more inclined in one direction than the other. But yeah, like even though it's his body,
Right.
like she's just kind of like, dude, no, we can do all of this. Even before she gets control, she's like, because there's a part where he's like really freaked out because he fell from this huge height in the water, and
Right.
he's like, holy crap, I'm drowning, I'm gonna die. And she's like, calm down. The nanobots are repairing the damage
It's
from the
like you
fall.
died once
And
already. We
yeah,
got
yeah.
this.
And it's interesting, and then at a later point when she does get control of the body, like, yeah, she's like, no, we're overpowered. I mean, to your earlier point about how like they're going against overpowered villains against overpowered villains, the interesting thing is they probably seem more, they delay you realizing like how overpowered the duo is, because essentially like you haven't unlocked their stuff, but Kelly, as the series goes on, starts unlocking more and more and just putting together more and more of what they can do, you
Well, and
know.
I mean, I love it that they come up with the blade that disrupts them, which works for like a minute and a half
Yeah,
until
yeah.
she figures out how to disable it.
Right,
And
right.
then they're like, "Well, we'll just use 10 of them." And she's like, "Okay, I'll just disable 10 of them, and then I'm
Yeah,
just gonna take over your robots."
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that's almost, I mean, after a certain point, it stops being a superhero story and starts being, quasi-religious. Because after a
Right.
certain point, it's what
yeah.
can't they do that is in any way, yeah,
Well, and that is kind of, I mean, because that was the fear at the beginning is, okay, you got this, you wanna fix the world, you got these nanites and you want to fix the world, but I mean, like, how's that gonna look? Um,
Hmm.
and now they've got them, and it's okay. How's this gonna look? And they go out and they start healing people, and
they've
then they
literally got a
have more
flock following
fights.
after them. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's, I
Yeah.
mean, like we said earlier, or Marcus, did you say it? But someone said it earlier about how like whatever happens in the second series is where it's going to get really interesting because that
Yeah.
determines what it ends up being. Is
Right.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you pay off yeah.
as they have time to slow down and think about what this power means,
Hmm.
as they have to truly figure out, how do we live together?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because all of this is happening so fast. They haven't had,
No.
I
They
They
haven't
had
mean,
even had
no
a honeymoon.
processing time.
even assuming that it's a
Right.
week or two, which it might be,
Yeah.
they haven't had time to slow down, breathe, and
No.
go, what are the consequences?
Well, they had
Yeah.
time to arrange a funeral now that I think about it.
Right.
Because Kelly's funeral happens.
Right.
They had to have had time for like the death certificate and the
Well,
coroner or
yeah, but
something.
that can all happen inside of a week pretty easily.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah,
I
okay,
mean,
fair.
the biggest reason I think that we've got a whole week is because they started healing people. So,
Yeah.
that they
Right.
they clearly went out and, but we're still not talking enough time for them to have like even truly sunk into. I mean, they're
Yeah.
still at the what can I do stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With so many superheroes, we don't get that stage
Yeah.
because they're not scientists. They don't think that they can do anything they want to put their mind to do. It's
Hmm.
more they get surprised and was like, oh wait, I can do that. But
My
Right.
God,
but
this
but
this is
these people designed this to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
And they're scientists.
I just
So they're
realized
gonna be, their immediate thing is, oh, what else can I do? Oh,
I
what else can I do? And at
Yeah.
some point it's gonna be, oh, should I?
Yes. Yeah.
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 I just realized this is a romance comic mixed with Firestorm.
Yeah.
Oh
Like that, it
yeah.
took me a while to
Yeah.
realize, oh my God, that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Except they're both scientists in that case, but like
Right.
in this case, but like that's literally kind of how it works. But like there's a singularity of vision, or not a vision, but like a purpose. Well,
Hmm.
eventually there is. Like that's I mean, I will say when I was reading it, I don't remember it now, but I will say that I felt like, I don't know, it seemed to me like Kelly kind of made a flip, just like kind of flipped a perspective really quick at one point, and I don't remember what point it was, but somewhere issue 2, where she goes from being very, I don't know, it seemed like her perspectives, her I don't know, her beliefs, her
Mhm.
values switched very quickly in a way that, I don't know, something about it didn't quite read right to me, but I don't know. I'm having trouble remembering it now, but I'm also sick as a dog, so I don't know.
Well, I think because I vaguely remember what you're talking about, but this is one of those places where I'm going to go losing your body and suddenly
Yeah,
being
it's a lot.
inside of your fiance and having super powered immortals and super rich guys with like murder
Tech
bots
billionaire. Yeah.
all after you uh
Yeah, I
is
mean,
possibly going to change your perspective on things.
Yeah.
fair enough, but I don't know. There was something that I don't
Well,
know.
I'd be interested in hearing which part you're talking about. I
I'm trying to go through it right now,
Yeah.
trying to find it.
I mean, I think
Well,
there were a lot of
well,
scenes where she was just thinking faster. Like, because
yeah. Yeah.
initially she's like, "Oh no, talk to Maya," because Maya's trying to figure out who's. Oh no, no,
Right.
no! She's trying to
She's trying to
pin
work
this on
you.
you. Stop talking! Stop talking!
Well,
Stop talking!
and that's where like one of the things that I think the series does well is you're right. Like whichever one you guys said earlier that like, we don't get a lot of backstory before the stuff starts happening about like, all right, this is David's deal, this is um Kelly's deal. We don't necessarily get that, but like I think as the story goes on, we're getting all kinds of pieces of the differences between them, and just that way in which she is so intuitive, she can be like they can be looking at the exact same situation and she's like, oh, she's flirting with you, then she's like, wait, stop, like she's working you for information, and it's interesting because Maya had not said that much at that point, but she just knows how to read people in a way where David, maybe he's just more on the analytical side, but he doesn't. Um, one other thing, just real quick, is that there's so at a certain point, Kelly does acknowledge that like maybe she got drunk on power and control, later on, because I think it's after they start healing everybody and things go awry. I forget exactly what happened, but like, she does acknowledge like, oh shoot, like I kind of like, I got
Went
us
nuts.
into a jam. Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting because the series, I don't think is interested in being like, oh, this one out of the two of them is the one who's right or smart or whatever. I think they're both different people who are bringing different things to it. They bring up a lot of times that as in life, they would finish each other's sentences. They were so in sync and everything. But it's some of these like subtle differences between them are kind of contrasted against each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did actually find the bit I was thinking of. So it's
Okay.
in issue 3 when they go up to actually talk to the immortals.
Mhm.
There's a page where
Oh, yeah.
like Gudrun is showing all the sick people in the world and all the sick people, and like her Kelly's immediate reaction, because she's in charge of the body, is saying that's what we're trying to solve, that's what we're trying to save.
Mhm.
And very quickly, like then there's a page where they discuss it, and there's literally like a panel where uh uh Marius says something like, if we did this, a huge percentage of the population would go insane. Which, by the way, I think his reasons for arguing that are a little specious, because like he's
Yeah.
like, the longer you live past a certain natural expiration point, the more sociopathic you get. And I'm like, okay, what's that based on though? Like that's
Yeah. And
based
I
on
don't,
you guys, and I don't
yeah.
know.
As
Whatever.
I'm reading it too,
Well, I mean,
I don't think he's the best reporter. Like most,
Right.
no,
yeah.
well, I agree with that. I can also because if you're immortal, on some level, that eliminates consequences,
It does, but it also like just the
and
way that he's
certainly
saying
for
it is
some
like
people.
the way that he's saying it is like where he says like a huge percentage of the population makes it sound as though he has figures to back that up, and I'm like,
Right,
you haven't
right.
done any long-term studies on
He
this.
doesn't show his work at
Yeah,
all.
where's the
He
data?
never
Well,
Come
shows
no,
on.
it.
Yeah.
sure,
And then the thing that really that I
sure,
was
but let's imagine your average MAGA person with immortality.
oh my God, let's please. I wanted to get
It's been a rough couple of weeks with the politics.
yeah.
Yeah.
My point that I wanted to get back
Um,
to though is then the page after that is Kelly then saying, no, he's got a point. We should back off and listen to him.
Mhm.
And like it was a little bit jarring for me in that Kelly was being originally portrayed as Marcus, like you said, like the more intuitive of the two, which
Right.
I mean, the other thing is that I feel like in a lot of cases where you have a male and female character sort of arguing these two sides, it's to the point of cliche that like the
Right.
woman is the one arguing from a more emotional, intuitive point of view, and the man is the one being more analytical about it. And
Right.
so it's a little bit,
But I
I don't know,
liked
that
her
that kind of
specific
faded into the
argument
background.
here. She's like, "Can you imagine giving everyone on the planet the powers we have?"
But she was up until this point, that's what she
Can I,
was that's kind of what she was doing is the
Yeah,
thing. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
but
her flip-flop there was
she has
very it
now
didn't
stopped and thought about it. You
but that
wouldn't
right.
even have to wait a generation like Mark. I mean, also, that's what she was thinking when she was only thinking about regenerative powers. She hadn't started using it as a weapon yet. She's
Right.
now used it as a weapon.
but she was still, I mean, I don't know.
I
She
guess
was
I
up
guess
until 2 pages ago, she was saying like, yeah, I want to heal everybody in the world. So
yeah.
Absolutely.
The
But
reason that yeah, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I think she's already shown that she's quick on her feet.
Yeah, and I guess that was my interpretation. I'm not saying that there's nothing to what you're saying, Ted, but I guess the way I interpreted it is that she, because she does pivot, and it's like the intuitive thing. I think the way I read that scene is that she's processing all these very points of view that are coming at her, and she's got a certain flexibility. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think she's rigid. I think that out of the two of them, she's more decisive,
Right.
you know. But
yeah, that's
I
a better
don't,
way to put it, I suppose.
yeah, but I don't think that decisiveness specifically is inflexibility, you know, because think about it like this, like a lot of times when she's trying to take over the body and everything, and I think Greg Pak did this on purpose. It's like she's trying to take over the body at moments when she feels like I'm slipping away, you know. And then there's an interesting existential question of, let's say there was no interference on either of their parts of those moments where she's like, I'm slipping away, like this is it, you know, maybe she wouldn't be gone. You know, we don't know. We don't necessarily know. But like in her mind, she's like, I'm definitely about to disappear. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
So I think there's a certain level of desperation to all of this. Like even when she's trying to take over the body, because she kind of discovers like that she can move his hand if she really wills herself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But she really needs his permission to like take full control, you know. So
I suppose that also reminded me though the one thing I really wanted to call out because I really liked it was there's a point where they've been captured by no what's his face Elon Musk Tinker
okay. Yeah.
I mean
Yeah, yeah,
but
no, yeah,
where he says something along the lines he's kind of trying to separate them, he's kind of trying to force them to you know to take differing sides. He said something about like, David, how do you know that she isn't just an AI construct? And like that would have
yeah.
been the
That's yeah,
that
go
would
ahead.
have been the cue in a lot of other comics to be like, oh my God, you know, David has
Right.
a right changes of faith, but they just immediately dismiss that out of hand. Where it's like,
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
let's not even discuss that. I kind of liked how they were just like, no, 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 let's not.
yeah.
That's not the philosophical debate we're interested in here. They
Well,
kind of,
and
yeah,
yeah, and it was interesting. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I did pick up on that too. That because yeah, in other stories they would have come away and been like, yeah, maybe you're not real, or she'd be like, maybe I'm
Maybe
not
I'm just
real.
talking to myself.
yeah.
Right, right.
There's a whole lot of other philosophical directions that could have gone in, but
Yeah,
they're just
yeah.
like, no, no, we're not talking about the validity of AIs here. That's a whole other thing.
Right.
I
Yeah,
appreciated that.
yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Um. Anyway, sorry. I was getting way off topic on a lot
No,
of
no,
things.
no, no. So
Yeah,
relevant.
I do like this. I like it a lot. It's a good, I mean, it is a good superhero story, and it's also a superhero story that's doing something different.
Mhm.
And I appreciate that. And it is a thing where I do want to see what happens next
Yeah.
to really contextualize. Yeah, what is this? What is the role of this new duo in the new Milestone universe? Because we've already seen that, like, you know, Icon and Rocket have their own different sort of mission. I mean, they have a different take on what they're doing, and so does
Mhm.
Static for that matter. Um, like, what is their role in the broader panoply of Milestone in this new version of Milestone? So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that for sure.
Well, and
Yeah, I'm actually looking up to see if they got green lit. I don't. I just haven't heard anything either way.
Yeah, I really hope so because like,
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying, Ted?
um, I was just as I flip forward, I mean, just going back to, I don't think she completely, I don't think it's as much of a 180 that she makes. because I mean they do go on to heal people. I think we need to be aware of how far we go
Yeah.
with this. It's one thing to heal the blind and take cancer away. It's another thing to let other people have the power that we have here,
Well, see, this is another bit
or
about
live
like
forever.
I was talking about
Or
liberalism earlier. It's like, well, it's one thing if an individual does something to help another individual, but
right.
changing the whole system, oh, that's a fridge too far. That,
Yeah, well, and I
it's
don't even know if
I'm
she's
being
saying
sarcastic about it.
right,
I'm
but
not.
I don't even know if she's saying that because um I mean they certainly go out and start trying to enact a lot of change.
Yeah.
Um but I think she's jarred enough and looking at enough evidence is like, okay, we need to step back and recalibrate.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to do anything rash right now. It might be worth talking to these people. They've been around for 70,000 years. We've been around for 30.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, it's 60. But I get you.
Which
No,
still probably only means 30 truly meaningful years.
that's true. No, you're right. I really do want to see what's happening with this next because, like, yeah, I also one other thing I forgot to call out. I do like that all the immortals had interestingly weird and different costume designs. Like, it really that's what made me think it was the Eternals, Kirby Eternals. While they have sort of warrior costumes from across different generations in a cool way. I thought that was a nice touch. Yeah. The design again, the design, the art, and everything in here is fantastic. I do like that a lot.
Yeah.
Ugh. We'll be going about it almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And my everything is about to collapse.
Yeah, I was about to say you sound like you're hitting your limits, and I'm running out of new things to say.
Yeah, I do. Again, I like this a lot. It is a completely new version of zombie that only takes some of the very basic original ideas, but that's not a bad thing, and it is being reinvented in a cool way. And I like I like what it does with that premise, and I'm really excited to see what happens next. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I recommend it for anybody who hasn't read it.
Yeah,
I think it's a really it's a different comic book. I think it took chances too, because there's a reality in which if you take something, people in fandoms, we don't always do well with stuff changing. From the original thing we fell in love with. So I can really appreciate it. They took a big swing, and I thought that it was pretty fruitful for a first arc. So.
Sure.
I also, but in my quick Googling, I couldn't really find anything. So I don't necessarily know that means it's not coming back, but
yeah, no, it looks like there's no press releases from Milestone Media since April. And those were Icon versus Hardware stuff.
Yeah.
So that then raises the question: what do we do next month? Are we going to go back?
Next month we go back to Compendium 2.
Nice.
Okay.
That was the plan.
Wait, where did we leave off? Because I read really far ahead in that.
Well,
so I don't even know where we were.
We haven't started Compendium 2.
Oh, we haven't started
right,
it. Okay.
Right.
Right.
We did all of this in between compendiums. So for next month, it will be Static number 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Okay, I'll go back to those.
From February through June of 1994.
What was the last through June? Okay.
Yeah. So 9 to 13.
Okay. Nice. Good old Static.
Yeah.
At some point, I do still like the idea of eventually maybe doing some of the watch of the show because I never saw very much of it. I maybe saw one or two episodes.
I would love to do that. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, maybe we could just do an episode here, or just a few episodes. But they're all on Max.
On which? Oh, on Matt. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. I think literally the only time I seen like Static in the show was he showed up in like one or two episodes of Justice League. There's like a time travel bit where they, jump forward 20 years so they can do Batman Beyond, and he's also there,
Yeah, I know Icon and Rocket were in Young Justice.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know if did Static show up there?
He must have. I feel like he must have. But
so.
they might have. I read about them appearing. I don't think I got far enough in Young Justice to see them.
Yeah. Yeah, I have
But
to catch up with that. I loved
Yeah.
that show. I just
Oh.
didn't I'm not caught up with it.
Hey, no, same deal. I mean, and like a new Greg Weisman show. No,
Yeah.
that dude has my heart from Gargoyles. Like Gargoyles was the
I'm so bad at managing to watch any shows, so you know.
Yeah.
Gotta make
that's
room.
the only reason I don't get full on. Yes, we should watch this because I'm sitting there going, dude, I'm so certain that I would be the one that didn't manage to pull it off.
I think
Oh,
you
I
can
get
do
you.
it.
I mean, most of the time I just have on like
they're 22 minutes. Yeah.
That's
no,
true.
I get it. But if Kelly didn't love it, I'd have to work it around her TV schedule
Oh yeah.
and or watch on my phone somewhere.
Did you say Andor? Because that's a show that I'm kidding.
I haven't finished watching Andor yet.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, Andor's really good.
I liked what I've watched, but I haven't finished.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
I think there's been another. I haven't watched any of Ahsoka.
Oh yeah,
I also enjoyed Ahsoka.
I've heard good things. I've heard good things.
Yeah.
But I don't. I don't do a ton of TV as anything but background.
Yeah, I guess you're okay because as somebody, I mean, obviously I'm really busy, but I'll definitely watch, make time just if I'm like collapsing from working. And there's literally too much good TV to watch right now. So it's like same thing with comics.
But I also think there's too much comics to read right now.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And I host a comics podcast, not a TV podcast. So I try to, I put a greater amount of focus on that.
Yeah, no, these are good points.
You know.
All right then. Well, yeah. So Static next time from Compendium 2.
Okay.
Start Compendium 2 next time. And go with that for probably like a year, and then decide whether we're gonna go straight into Compendium 3 or if we're gonna do season 2 of the new stuff. So I mean, we got our stuff plotted out for a while.
Yeah, we got a lot of space. We got a lot to get through for sure.
You know.
Nice.
I mean, we there's a lot of space, a lot of room.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I just want to briefly, I don't want to keep you, Ted, because I know you, but I just want to briefly share with you guys. I think I've talked about Junior, my comic that I did.
No, I got my copy.
Oh, have you read it?
Yeah, well, I read it when you sent me a
that's right. I did.
Secret PDF, but I read it again when I got my Kickstarter copy.
Yeah.
Yes, I got my Kickstarter, my print copies over there on the table.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's why, just do a quick plug that people can. I can't talk about what I'm working on now, but definitely you can. Rule of Three comics. You can look up Junior right now. I'm proud of it. Like I like what
you should
did.
be. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. And people can also go to 10 Speed Press and get your Black Panther party. They can go to they can't really go to Aftershock, but Side Effects is still kicking around all over the place.
Yeah, you can find
it. But you have to go find comic shops rather than the publisher.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. So let me take us out and then I'll chatter with you guys for a minute or two. So for the brothers Anderson, no relation. I don't think I've said that yet this episode. This has been the 22 Panels Milestone Book Club. We will see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.